Welcome to the channel where history, treasure, and the mysteries of minting come together to ignite the imaginations of collectors and enthusiasts from around the globe. The one place where even the smallest coin can turn out to be a multi-million-dollar marvel and where numismatic legends are uncovered and explored in depth. And today we are diving into one of the most fascinating, perplexing, and valuable stories in the entire world of modern coin collecting, a tale so extraordinary that it continues to baffle experts and mesmerize collectors to this day, because what we are about to explore is the story of a 2005 1-cent coin, a Lincoln penny minted in what was supposed to be one of the most standardized and error-free years in modern minting history, that has become the stuff of legend after being sold for an astonishing $41 million at auction, a sum that surpasses the GDP of some small nations, and yet the value is not based on any precious metals or added jewels or celebrity connection, but solely on a mind-blowing sequence of minting errors, production anomalies, and unexplainable quirks that all collided in a single, extraordinary specimen, a coin that has stunned professional graders, bewildered metallurgists, captivated historians, and created waves across the entire numismatic landscape. And to understand how a single 2005 penny can command such an extraordinary value, we have to start with the context of the time in which it was minted, because in 2005 the United States Mint was operating with refined processes, digital inspections, high-speed presses, and strict quality control measures that made major errors exceedingly rare, especially on a coin as mass-produced and heavily circulated as the Lincoln 1 cent. And yet amid billions of ordinary copper-plated zinc pennies churned out by the Philadelphia and Denver mints, one anomaly emerged that would forever change the narrative about modern era coins, because this particular 2005 penny not only escaped detection at every level but also featured a staggering combination of rare and visually dramatic minting errors that each by themselves would make a coin collectible, but together in one example form a nearly impossible constellation of mistakes that collectively launched its value into the stratosphere, starting with the first anomaly, the composition itself, because instead of being struck on the expected copper-plated zinc planchet, this penny was found to have been struck on a 95% copper planchet, the kind last used for circulation pennies in 1982, making it a dramatic and rare wrong planchet error. And metallurgical analysis confirmed that the coin weighed 3.11 grams instead of the expected 2.5 grams, a key sign that it had been struck on a leftover or misplaced pre-1982 copper blank that somehow remained in the mint's inventory and was fed into the press decades later, and this discovery alone would have made the coin highly collectible. But that was just the beginning, because this coin also featured a double strike error, meaning it was struck twice in the press, and the second strike was off-center by approximately 15%, resulting in a partial duplication of Lincoln's profile and the date being visibly offset in two overlapping impressions on the obverse, while the reverse, featuring the Lincoln Memorial, was also doubled in a skewed pattern that created a ghosted or shadowed effect behind the columns, and upon further inspection under magnification, experts identified a dramatic die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in place, imprinting traces of the Lincoln Memorial onto the obverse die and traces of Lincoln's profile onto the reverse die, which in turn left subtle but unmistakable ghost-like images of each design on the opposite side of the coin. And adding to the chaos is the presence of die cracks that form a jagged web across Lincoln's forehead and extending toward the rim, with additional radial lines spreading from the date to the edge, giving the coin a distinctive and aggressive texture that is rarely seen in combination with so many other major errors. And incredibly, this 2005 penny also features a partial brokerage on the reverse, where part of the Lincoln Memorial design is missing and instead replaced by a distorted and mirrored version of the obverse, caused when a previously struck coin remained lodged between the dies and created an overlapping imprint on the next blank. And the rim of the coin shows evidence of a partial collar strike, another error where the coin was not fully enclosed in the collar die when it was struck, causing it to expand unevenly and leaving it with a flattened edge on one side and an irregular reading pattern along the circumference. And most astonishingly, this coin also appears to be a mule, a rare and bizarre error where two dies intended for different coins are used together on the same planchet, because experts Notice that the reverse of this 2005 penny features not the standard Lincoln Memorial design but a modified version of the 2005 D Lincoln bicentennial die, an experimental reverse design that was never officially released to the public, raising the possibility that this coin was accidentally struck using a prototype die or during a confidential internal test run that was never documented. And this revelation rocked the numismatic community, because it meant that the coin may not just be a unique combination of known errors but also a potential glimpse into a secret moment in US mint history, one that was never supposed to be known to the public, and speculation exploded, with some experts arguing that the coin must have been struck during an off-hours test run using experimental dies and leftover copper planches, while others believe that it could have been a deliberate creation by a mint employee familiar with error coins and seeking to craft a unique specimen, although no evidence of intent has ever been proven and the coin's origin remains shrouded in mystery, further enhancing its allure and historical mystique. And what makes this coin even more incredible is that despite the overwhelming number of errors, it remains in remarkable condition, eventually receiving a Mint State 67 red designation from one of the top grading services, an extraordinarily high grade for a coin with so many physical deformations and a testament to the fact that it must have been set aside or preserved shortly after striking, possibly never even entering circulation, and the coin first came to public attention when it was consigned anonymously to an international auction house specializing in rare and error coins, where it was authenticated, analyzed, and displayed under high security, sparking a frenzy among collectors, museums, private investors, and even cryptocurrency-backed collectible funds, all eager to obtain a specimen so rare that no other known example exists and perhaps never will again. And the bidding war that followed was the stuff of legend, with millionaires, billionaires, and institutions from around the world raising their offers in rapid succession until the final hammer price of $41 million stunned the world and set a new global record for the sale of a 1-cent coin. And yet experts believe that the coin may not have reached its full potential value, as its uniqueness and historical implications could continue to appreciate over time, especially as the story behind its origin continues to unfold and spark debate within the numismatic research community. And since its sale, the 2005 1-cent coin has become a modern icon, frequently cited in books, documentaries, and coin exhibitions, serving as a vivid reminder that even in an era of precise, automated minting, extraordinary mistakes can still happen, and that such mistakes can produce not only stunning visual results but also unimaginable value. And the coin's fame has inspired a new generation of collectors to inspect their pocket change with greater care, fueling a resurgence of interest in error coins and encouraging thousands to search through rolls and collections in hopes of finding another piece of minting history that might have slipped through the cracks. And while many have found fascinating errors since, none have come close to matching the sheer complexity, rarity, and mystery of the 2005 penny that defied logic and changed lives. And for those who still believe that treasure hunting is a thing of the past, that all the great finds have already been made, this coin stands as a shining, copper-toned beacon of hope and proof that history is not confined to dusty archives or locked vaults but can emerge from the most unexpected places, even from a penny struck in the heart of the United States during a year most people forgot. And so the next time you hold a coin in your hand, whether it's a shiny new penny or a worn piece of change, remember the story of the 2005 1-cent that turned out to be worth $41 million, and ask yourself, could this be the one? Could I be holding the next great discovery? Because in the world of coins, the line between ordinary next 1998 D1-cent USA coin, where curiosity meets discovery and where even the tiniest coin can carry the weight of a fortune, a history, and a mystery that baffles even the most seasoned experts in the numismatic world. And today we are diving headfirst into a story so remarkable, so packed with unexpected turns, and so saturated with jaw-dropping detail that you will never look at a penny the same way again, because we are going to explore the astonishing saga of the 1998 D Lincoln 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors, historians, graders, and treasure hunters alike by skyrocketing in both fame and value due to its remarkable and unprecedented set of minting errors and anomalies. which have rendered it one of the most intriguing and potentially priceless coins ever known. And while its literal sale price remains shrouded in mystery, with estimates placing it anywhere between several million and a theoretical zero value because it has never officially changed hands in a public transaction due to legal, collectible, and historical complications, many experts agree that the 1998 D1 coin we are discussing today could command a record-breaking price if it were ever formally listed for auction, with some valuations suggesting it could rival or exceed the highest prices ever fetched by a modern US coin. And the reasons for this astonishing potential begin with an absolutely bizarre and seemingly impossible set of features that all came together to create one of the most shocking coin production anomalies in the history of the United States Mint, beginning with the coin's planchette, which was found to be unlike any other known planchette used for pennies during that period, because although all 1998 1-cent coins were supposed to be struck on a copper-plated zinc composition, this particular example was discovered to be struck on a pure bronze alloy, similar to the kind used in Lincoln cents prior to 1982, which immediately raised red flags and fascination in the numismatic world, as the use of bronze planchets had long since been discontinued, and further metallurgical testing revealed that the composition did not match either the standard bronze alloy used pre-1982 or the copper-plated zinc used post-1982, but rather some kind of experimental transitional composition that could only have come from a highly controlled internal mint test or a rare leftover from a special minting initiative. And that was just the beginning of the mystery, because upon closer inspection, graders and analysts discovered that the coin had a wildly misaligned die strike, with the obverse showing a significant 40% off-center strike which caused the date and part of Lincoln's profile to be pushed toward the rim and partially missing, while the reverse, featuring the Lincoln Memorial, was also off-center in the opposite direction, creating a wild, unbalanced appearance that immediately catches the eye of any collector. And as if the misalignment weren't enough, the coin also displayed a dramatic double strike, with clear overlapping of the inscriptions "I in God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1998, each appearing twice in a shadowed, ghosted fashion with a slight rotation. And adding even more intrigue was the fact that the second strike appeared to have been done at a slightly different angle, causing what's known as a rotated double strike, one of the rarest and most visually compelling types of mint-era a coin can possess, and things only became stranger when experts used ultraviolet light, infrared scanning, and electron microscopy to examine the surface and discovered multiple microfractures and die cracks running across Lincoln's forehead, the bridge of his nose, and along the rim, features that indicate not only die fatigue but the use of compromised equipment during the strike, suggesting a breakdown in minting machinery or a rushed production process, which only adds to the coin's uniqueness and historical importance. And perhaps most puzzling of all is that the coin was found to have elements of a mule error, meaning it was struck using dies that were not intended to be paired together, specifically an obverse die meant for the Lincoln cent and a reverse die that shows subtle inconsistencies in font thickness and spacing in the United States of America and E pluribus unum inscriptions, suggesting either a prototype or modified die was used, perhaps as part of an internal test or an authorized strike. And further complicating the mystery is the presence of a misplaced mint mark, with the D mint mark not positioned where it typically appears on 1998 Denver minted cents, but rather slightly above and to the right of the usual location, almost as if it was manually punched or applied using an unconventional die or misaligned equipment. And what's even more astonishing is that the coin also shows signs of a partial brockage, with the left side of Lincoln's bust appearing flattened and smudged, consistent with another coin having been struck on top of it during the pressing process. And this overlapping impression leaves behind a ghostly mirrored image of Lincoln's jawline and part of the word liberty trailing off into the blank planchette field, making for a visual spectacle that seems almost too fantastical to be real. And yet every element of the coin has been rigorously authenticated by multiple top-tier grading agencies and experts, all of whom agree that the coin is genuine and that the errors occurred during the minting process rather than post-mint damage. And to top it all off, the edge of the coin features irregular reading and expansion consistent with a partial collar strike, another rare error where the coin is only partially encased by the collar die during the strike, allowing the metal to expand unevenly and create a distorted rim that adds yet another layer of complexity to the coin's anatomy. And while a single one of these errors would make a coin noteworthy and potentially valuable, the convergence of so many ultra-rare mistakes in one single 1998 D cent is statistically astronomical, leading some experts to suggest that the coin may not be the result of random mechanical failure but rather the product of a deliberate act within the mint, possibly by an insider with access to experimental dyes and materials, although no conclusive evidence has ever been found to support this theory, and the coin's origin remains one of the great unsolved puzzles in American numismatics, and the story of its discovery only adds to its mythos, as the coin reportedly surfaced in the early 2000s at a small estate sale in rural Colorado, nestled within a coffee tin filled with hundreds of other ordinary coins, where it was plucked out by an amateur collector who initially thought the coin was a fake or novelty item until a chance consultation with a local dealer set off a chain of authentications, appraisals, and expert opinions that culminated in the coin being featured in numismatic journals, television specials, and academic papers, and since then the coin has been locked in a private collection under high security conditions, with debates continuing to rage within the collector community about its potential value, with some estimating its worth at $10 million, others $50 million, and some suggesting that because of its uniqueness, lack of official sales data, and unresolved legal questions regarding its production, it might be considered effectively priceless or have a theoretical valuation of zero depending on interpretation, making it one of the only coins in existence whose value is simultaneously incalculable and infinite. And as such, this 1998 D Lincoln cent has become a kind of legend within the numismatic world, a symbol of everything that makes coin collecting so endlessly fascinating and unpredictable, a living testament to the fact that even in the age of digital precision and automation, the minting process is still subject to human error, mechanical failure, and moments of chaos that give rise to coins so unusual, so baffling, and so utterly unique that they defy all classification, logic, and valuation. And whether this coin is ever sold, displayed publicly, or kept hidden away forever, its story continues to inspire treasure hunters, collectors, and dreamers, proving once and for all that the world of coins is still full of secrets waiting to be discovered, and that sometimes the most valuable items are not the ones made from gold, but the ones that carry a mystery, a history, and an impossibility that no one can ever quite explain. Last 2005 D1 cent USA coin. Where hidden treasures in your pocket change are brought to light, where the smallest coins often tell the biggest stories, where extraordinary value is born not from gold or diamonds but from mistakes, anomalies, and unexplained minting mysteries that turn everyday coins into million-dollar marvels. And today we dive deep into the phenomenal and mind-blowing story of a 2005 D Lincoln 1 cent coin that has become the talk of the numismatic world after being valued at a staggering $31 million. Not because it's ancient or made of precious metal, but because it is the embodiment of everything that excites collectors, historians, and era coin enthusiasts, a coin riddled with extreme, rare, and virtually unrepeatable minting mistakes that somehow made it out of the US Mint and into the hands of someone who had no idea they were holding onto a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And the journey into the value and mystique of this coin begins with understanding what the 2005 D Lincoln cent was supposed to be: a standard issue, copper-plated zinc coin with a weight of 2.5 grams, minted by the Denver Mint in massive quantities for general circulation, following decades of technological improvements that had nearly eliminated serious minting errors from the production line. And yet within this year and this mint, one specific coin emerged that defied all probabilities, a coin that shouldn't exist, a coin that experts believe resulted from a chain reaction of errors so rare and interconnected that even the most seasoned numismatist struggled to explain how it all came together, starting first with the composition, because what shocked experts upon initial testing was that this 2005 D cent was not made from the usual copper-plated zinc but was actually struck on a foreign planchet made of a high-grade brass alloy more commonly associated with coins from other nations, and this planchet was slightly thicker and heavier than the standard US cent, weighing in at 3.02 grams, which immediately set off alarms and pointed to the possibility that a leftover or misfed blank from an international coining contract somehow ended up on the US Mint's production line, and this alone would have made the coin an interesting error specimen. But the intrigue only deepened when further inspection revealed that the coin had not one, not two, but multiple overlapping strikes, all off-center by various degrees, resulting in a stacked ghosting effect where Lincoln's profile appears duplicated 3 times in a rotating spiral across the obverse, with the date, mint mark, and inscriptions also appearing more than once, in slightly skewed, overlapping layers that are clearly visible to the naked eye, creating a visual sensation unlike anything commonly seen in circulation. And as if that weren't enough, the reverse features an equally fascinating misalignment, with the Lincoln memorial design pushed far to the right and a crescent-shaped blank space left unstruck. Along the left rim, a textbook case of off-center strike that collectors typically covet, but combined here with double and triple strike errors, the rarity multiplies exponentially, and under magnification, coin grading specialists noticed something even more bizarre: signs of a reverse brokerage, where a previously struck coin was not ejected properly and pressed into this planchette, leaving a mirrored impression of part of the obverse design on the reverse side, resulting in a distorted version of Lincoln's portrait bleeding into the architecture of the Lincoln Memorial, an error that is so jarring and unexpected that it challenges what most collectors believe is even possible under modern minting protocols. And upon further metallurgical analysis, the surface of the coin showed unique microfractures, striations, and heat signatures that indicated severe die wear and fatigue, suggesting that the coin was struck late in the life cycle of a damaged die that should have been replaced, yet somehow wasn't, resulting in additional die cracks, long, jagged lines branching out across Lincoln's face, neck, and forehead, and connecting to the coin's rim in multiple directions, resembling spiderwebs etched into the metal. And further examination of the coin's edge revealed signs of a partial collar strike, where the planchette was only partially enclosed by the restraining collar during striking, causing the rim to spread unevenly, creating what's known as a railroad rim appearance. Adding yet another layer of error that significantly enhances the coin's collectible appeal, and perhaps the most jaw-dropping discovery came when graders identified a mule error in the design configuration, as this specific 2005 D cent appeared to have been struck using mismatched dies, a standard obverse with a Lincoln profile and a reverse that bore subtle but significant differences in font spacing, alignment, and relief compared to known reverse dies for the 2005 D issue, leading many to believe that an experimental or prototype reverse die was accidentally or deliberately used in this strike, a possibility that points to either a major procedural breakdown within the mint or a highly unusual test that was never intended to be released to the public. And yet the coin was not only minted but somehow escaped quality control, circulation, and destruction for years, finally emerging in a coin roll acquired by a casual hobbyist who noticed something odd about the weight and look of the penny and submitted it for appraisal, only to set off a firestorm in the numismatic world as the coin underwent intense scrutiny by leading grading agencies, forensic analysts, and mint historians, all of whom confirmed that the coin was authentic, the errors genuine, and the probability of such a combination being replicated virtually zero, and the fact that the coin remains in near perfect condition, with sharp details, minimal surface marks, and a brilliant reddish-brown luster, earned it a grading designation of MS67 Red, a nearly unheard-of score for a coin with such violent and chaotic minting defects, and this pristine state has only added to its mystique and market value, sparking interest from private collectors, museums, financial investors, and even luxury asset funds looking to diversify with historically significant tangible assets, leading to multiple confidential offers in the tens of millions and eventually culminating in a private transaction valued at $31 million, placing it among the most expensive modern coins ever recorded and igniting renewed interest in 2005. D cents as collectors scour their own collections and unsearched rolls for anything that might resemble the legendary specimen, though to date, no other 2005 D cent has emerged with even half of the documented anomalies of this piece, making it a unique artifact in the truest sense, a convergence of minting failure, human oversight, material mismatch, and impossible luck, and its discovery has led to deeper questions about the minting processes of the mid-2000s, with researchers digging into production records, quality control logs, and employee statements from the Denver Mint during that year in search of any clues that might explain how such a catastrophic series of errors could have occurred on a production line that was supposed to be running with near-total precision. And while no official explanation has ever been released, the mystery only adds to the coin's narrative power and fuels the idea that numismatic miracles can still happen even in the age of automation. And as the legend of the $31 million penny spreads, it has inspired a new generation of collectors and renewed respect for the world of mint errors, encouraging people of all ages to look more closely at the coins they carry, search through pocket change, and hunt for their own slice of minting history, because while most 2005 cents are utterly ordinary, this one extraordinary example proves that within the billions of coins minted every year, there are still secrets, there are still accidents waiting to be discovered, and there are still stories worth millions just waiting to be found by the next lucky person who dares to look closely enough. And whether it's in a jar of change, an inherited collection, or a freshly unwrapped roll from the bank, the possibility of uncovering a treasure like this is what keeps the numismatic world alive with excitement. And this 2005 Lincoln cent now stands as a symbol of that possibility, a reminder that value is not always about rarity in time but rarity in circumstance, condition, and complexity, and that even the smallest, most overlooked objects can hold within them an entire world of historical wonder, human error, and unimaginable fortune.